Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I go by the name of Amir Junaid Muhaddith, formerly known as Loom from Bad Boy Records. I've had a very extensive career in the music business. I was very successful in the music business. I contributed a talent that grossed in millions of records in sales. And I was able to reach a very vast audience all around the world. And to make a long story short, being in the music business, you encounter so many things that lend a hand to being like a consistent cycle of sin. Something that is very, very repetitive and very consistent, but the grand finale or the ending is really no benefit. And I started to find myself, running into this understanding. And the time went by and I continued to practice this method of sinning in terms of doing music and indulging in the lifestyle that comes with the music. I found myself being very depressed and very discouraged because I felt like I've invested so much of my time and so much of my life and my energy into something that, ultimately was, going down an avenue that had a dead end sign. So being in the business where you're not really, able to express this emotion because you're in a competitive environment and you don't want the competition to see that, you're struggling. So I guess internally I was oppressed and I was trying to find a way to seek refuge in something greater than me, something greater than the business that I was in. And I actually did a record that was successful. I did a record with a Lebanese artist by the name of Masadi. He hails out of Canada. And to my surprise, because, even as a successful artist, I never expected, any music that I did would propel into a market such as the Islamic market or the Muslim world. Because we kind of, as entertainers in the West or in America, we kind of look at our success ranging in places like the United Kingdom, North America, South America, Europe, things of these nature. So for this record to be successful in the Muslim world, and me being able to be invited to perform this song in the Muslim world, happened to be the greatest experience and greatest transitional phase of my whole life. I visited countries like Muscat, Oman, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. And through the course of my travels and through the course of performing, and once the shows were over, I started to pay more attention to the surroundings. I started to pay more attention to the environment that I was in and the culture that came with the environment. And as you know, in the Western world, we have a very one-dimensional perception of Islam, and we have a very one-dimensional perception of the Muslim. So on this journey, I was able to see firsthand the extreme difference, not only in Islam, but in the Muslim. Hands-on, my own experience with my own two eyes, I seen something that was so, different from what American media, expresses in terms of the Islam and the Muslim, and I was drawn. I gravitated to this understanding. I would hear certain things like the adhan, which is the call to prayer. I heard the call to prayer being recited, and actually seeing the Muslim make salat, meaning the prayer, and all these things combined played an enormous, gave an enormous impact to my heart. And for the first time in my life, I saw a people who were humble. I seen a people who practiced peace. I seen a people who collectively, 24 hours a day, constantly engaging in acts of worship to the one true creator. And this was something that I needed, because in my state of ignorance, I found myself trying to, search other avenues to find this peace that I seen displayed on my journey. And I tried to do things like, buy luxurious gifts or travel to beaches and do all kinds of things. And satisfaction was always temporary. So while I was in Abu Dhabi and looking at the sunset, overlooking the Arabian Sea, something hit me. And that vision and those collective impressions left me in only one conclusion, that I wanted to be a Muslim. And this is where I was introduced to Islam with no verbal dawah. Basically, an impression that was left based on the mannerisms of the Muslim, the culture of the Muslim, and the collective acts of worship of the Muslim. All these things lended a hand to introducing me to a brand new way of life and a newfound peace that I wouldn't trade in for nothing in the world. Inshallah. Make this transition so easy, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most kind to make this transition so easy, because some Muslims, as you can probably tell, that making the transition from another faith into Islam, there are a lot of trials and tribulations that one might face from your peers or your family. But in the case of my peers, similar situation, they know me to not ever be like a follower or a tag along. So to see someone with leadership quality follow something as great as Islam, I think a lot of my peers are probably curious about why would I give up such a luxurious lifestyle to be a Muslim. And like you said, maybe behind my back some of them joke, but for the most part the ones that confront me are sincere, and they ask me questions, and to be honest with you, some of them have even accepted Islam based on having this curiosity, knowing me and seeing this transition and seeing how happy I am, see that I smile more. And this is a well-deserved smile. This is not the smile for the camera where you just, no, this is real, So people who know me can identify with these things have definitely showed me, much support, much love, and alhamdulillah, may Allah guide them all into the fold of Islam, because Islam is a beautiful religion of peace. Well, honestly, the music that I did is a lifestyle that comes with the music. And of course, when I was into music, I had a very, very devoted love for music and everything that it contributed to my career and my life at the time. But now that I've found the same beauty in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't need the music anymore to find that joy that I used to find when I used to do music. Like for instance, like you said, you have people that do have positive words in their music, such as certain artists who do nasheed. Yes, nasheed. But what I've found in such a short period of time of being a Muslim is that, you meet people who are so devoted to the Quran, and when they read the Quran, you can actually see the tears dropping on the pages of the Quran. But what I found now, that most of the young Muslims nowadays that listen to nasheed, the nasheed music actually extracts the same emotion, where they're listening to songs that are talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the downside of it is, once you start to accumulate the emotion from listening to nasheed, when these people return back to the Quran, they lose the emotion that comes with reading the speech of Allah. So, and coming out of a business where I suffered so much depression dealing with the lifestyle, the creative aspect of making music was very easy for me, but the lifestyle became overbearing and it came, overwhelming. And to be removed from that, like you said, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to choose me, to guide me away from the lifestyle, I would be a fool to return back to the place in which I was guided from. So, in that case, I just, anyone who's involved in music and a Muslim and understand, you know, the benefits of practicing Islam correctly and knowing that the Quran teaches us that music is haram. You know, I would say to those that are struggling with these matters to, you know, try to refrain from this and invest more time and energy in reading and extracting emotion from the speech of Allah, which is in the Quran. Nah, I haven't actually paid no attention to nasheed music, but I do have Yusuf Salam's Call to Prayer. I have his Idan.
Yes.
Yeah, no other songs. You know, I heard the A is for Allah, and it's a nice little catchy jingle in terms of, you know. No. Yusuf Salam, he has an Idan. He calls the Idan, and I have that recorded. You know, but I'm not familiar with any nasheed artists, and I'm not familiar with any nasheed songs because, you know, like I said, I was able to be removed from music and everything it entails, and to return to another music or another style of music will only be, you know, counterproductive for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would like to get more in depth with, you know, learning how to read Quran, read and write Arabic, and study, you know what I'm saying, the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and continue to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, that this is the correct way of Islam, and this is what, you know, I've dedicated my life to doing, inshallah.